Welcome on the Cosmic Atom, the Chosen One. This message has come to you on purpose. It's wonderful timing. There's a reason you have always felt different. A reason why the load seemed greater on your shoulders. A reason why your family's cycles never set well with you. You are the one that was selected, not by coincidence, but by divine arrangement. You were sent not just to survive what your family went through, but to rise above it and rewrite the story. Others may have accepted that this is how things are. Something in your soul was constantly whispering, "This is not how things have to be." That whisper was a summons to purpose, and the pull on your spirit was confirmation. You were tasked with doing something that no one had ever done before. You are the one who has broken the curse. The generational bridge, the tale changer. This is your rise, not just for you, but for everyone who has come before you, and all souls that will follow. Before we delve in, let's break it down into 7 powerful, life-changing chapters. Please like, share, and subscribe, because this message is more than simply substance. It's wonderful. Confirmation was intended for the selected ones. If your spirit is experiencing this frequency, type 77 in the comments right now. That number is not random. It is a holy code, a communication to the highest and the cosmos that you are awake and ready to accept what you already have. By divine right, not everyone will reach the finish. Only the genuinely selected, and those who remain will acquire insight, deepen their consciousness, and uncover the secret benefits embedded in every word of this message. This is not something you can listen to once. It's a living reality that is revealed layer by layer. Rewatch it as many times as your soul desires, for each listen will bring you a fresh understanding, a heavenly key you could have ignored the first time. Now, let us begin. The first chapter is titled The Inherited Weight. Every family has a narrative, weaved through generations and filled with moments of hope, sorrow, courage, and pain. Some of these tales are triumphant, but many are about tragedy. Not all trauma is loud. Sometimes it's in the things that are never uttered. The embraces were never offered. The dreams were never pursued. It is in the stillness. After an altercation, the tension in the room stays, and dread becomes the norm. You see, you may have been born with more than just a name or culture. You were born into a family history rife with emotional loads, survival behaviors, and untreated traumas. You haven't asked for it yet. It started to settle on your shoulders the moment you took your first breath. The implicit expectations, anxiety, and scarcity attitude. The guilt was handed down like a family treasure. You may have grown up believing this was usual, not comprehending that the ongoing tension, dysfunction, or separation was the result of generations of people trying their best with what they had. They weren't weak, they were wounded, and their injuries created the model for how you were trained to live. You could feel it in the air of your childhood home, the way your family avoided certain talks, the way aspirations were mocked or dismissed, the way love was made conditional or withheld. You sensed it in the way your parents pushed themselves to the bone and yet struggled. You felt it when you attempted to shine, but were warned not to get ahead of yourself. It was more than simply emotional. It was spiritual. It attempted to stifle your voice, diminish your value, and persuade you that your only duty was to bear the agony silently, just like everyone else. But something inside you whispered no. Somewhere deep down you knew that this couldn't be all there was. That maybe, just maybe, you weren't meant to bear this agony. But maybe you were destined for something bigger. And that quiet, rebellious murmur in your soul was not arrogance. It was awakening. That was your soul, realizing that you were not just born into the tale. You were born to rewrite it. Here's the strong reality. What you inherited wasn't just brokenness. Under the wreckage, there was also resilience. There was a strength buried behind centuries of stillness, ready to be discovered. You embody the tenacity of survivors, the perseverance of dreamers, and the bravery of those who persevered. Even when the world gave them every reason to give up, that same blood flows through your veins, not to repeat history, but to redeem it. You were not sent to bear the weight indefinitely. You were assigned to change it and collect the broken bits. Hold them to the light and create something new. You are not just the next chapter in the tale. You are the storyline. Twist the interruption, heavenly intervention. Your bloodline has been waiting. You are the chosen one, and the trip begins here. Chapter 2, The Awakening Moment. There comes a time in every selected person's life when an internal fracture appears, when the weight of inherited patterns becomes too great to ignore. Perhaps it occurs slowly, increasing awareness with time. Perhaps it struck you all at once. A breakdown, betrayal, burnout, or a silent cry inside that refuses to be silenced any longer. You found yourself reflecting on your life, family, and history and thought, this cannot go on. It's not that you didn't adore your family. You made a significant effort, but love does not imply silence. And what you saw or experienced was not healthy. Perhaps it was the way your parents fought, or how they ignored one another for days afterwards, just as their parents did. Perhaps it was the generational fight with money, which included working hard and sacrificing everything. But I never seemed to get ahead. Or maybe it was emotional coldness disguised as strength, with no one saying, I love you. And vulnerability was seen as a weakness. Whatever it was, you saw and felt it, and something inside you broke. Not in a harmful manner, but in a way that aroused your spirit. You suddenly understood that just because something had always been this way did not imply it had to remain that way. The moment of waking is more than merely recognizing the discomfort. It's about acknowledging your ability to alter things, and it's quite unpleasant. Awakening is not a peaceful process. It rattles you. It prompts you to question everything. Why did they raise me like this? Why wasn't anybody speaking up? Why do I feel bad about desiring something different? You struggle with your fury. You miss the innocence. You lost too soon. You are split between devotion to your family and allegiance to the future. That inner turmoil does not indicate weakness. It's indication that your soul is realigning with the truth. And here's something important to remember. The one who recognizes the pattern is the one called to alter it. It's no surprise that you were born with a sensitive spirit. It is not a coincidence that your heart bleeds over things that others disregard. It's not a weakness. It is heavenly wiring. You were designed to see. You were designed to feel. You were meant to awaken. The fact that you identify the cycle is a miracle. Think about it. Generations have lived it, normalized it, and passed it on. But you stopped. You noticed. That moment of awareness is the spark that starts the healing process. Because change starts with sight rather than action. The bravery to view things for as they really are rather than as they have always been. You may feel alone throughout this awakening. You may feel confused and guilty for desiring more. But this is how all cycle breakers feel. That's what every selected one carries. And despite the enormous load, the objective is complete. Your awakening is not a revolt. It's a restoration. You are not disrespecting your history by refusing to repeat it. You are respecting your future by choosing to rise and see it through your own eyes. Your voice is starting to shape your family's narrative. Your healing brings what was previously unheard to light. Generations of quiet are being broken. This is an unpleasant moment. So the thrilling moment isn't the end. It is the beginning. You've seen the truth, and now you can't go back to sleep. The time for waking has arrived. It's time to answer the phone. Chapter 3, The Pain of Separation. When you decide to break the cycle and no longer accept dysfunction as tradition, to heal rather than conceal, you'll rapidly discover a painful reality. Transformation often begins with solitude. People don't always react positively when you decide to develop, especially when such development sheds light on some aspects of them. They have tried hard to remain unseen. Your choice to embrace healing, completeness, and purpose may arouse others' concerns, uncertainties, or even shame. They may not understand what you're doing, and instead of inquiring, they may pass judgment. They may remove themselves rather than provide assistance. Instead of celebrating, they could condemn, not because they despise you, but because your transformation disrupts their comfort. When you declare, "I want more," individuals who settle for less may feel rejected. When you speak up, people may see it as contempt. When you pursue something different, people may see it as a criticism of the way they have lived. As a result, the people you care about most may be the first to misinterpret your objective. This is the sorrow of separation. You may be termed excessively sensitive or too ambitious. You may be accused of believing you're superior than your family. You may feel like an outsider in the location where you were reared. And that is not simple. When you realize you can't bring everyone with you on your recovery path, you experience a profound sense of loss. There's a stinging loneliness when the individuals you thought would support you turn out to be the ones who question everything you do. But hear this clearly. You are not wrong to develop. You are not selfish for choosing to recover. You are not disloyal for determining that the misery ends with you. The sorrow of separation is not punishment. It's time to prepare. You're being pushed away so you can see clearly. So you may start writing a new narrative, one untainted by the responsibilities that others have ascribed to you. You were probably provided a script early on. Be the caregiver, the quiet one, or the harsh one. The repairer, the humorous one, the one who keeps things together. However, such positions were established to ensure survival rather than destiny. And when you start questioning them, refuse to play along, things get awkward. The family system rattles somewhat. Stepping into your truth creates a wave. And sometimes the wave creates distance. But that distance is crucial because changing a system requires you to go outside of it. You can't rework a tale if you're still locked in the previous chapters. You must perceive things from a higher, healed, and visionary perspective. And sure, it will hurt. Growth always occurs. You will mourn over connections that were once close but are no longer secure. You'll miss the convenience of sticking with what's known. You wish for the days when being accepted didn't mean diminishing yourself. But don't let the agony persuade you to return, since what comes ahead is considerably more powerful than what came before. And remember that your separation will not last forever. This isn't abandonment. It's called evolution. You are not cutting others off. You are generating space. There is plenty space for growth. There is space to heal. There is space to lead. And frequently, that space is what helps people to discover their own way to recovery. One day, the same individuals who question your path may seek your advice, not because you pushed them, but because you demonstrated that change is possible. The reconciliation you desire may not be achieved by compliance. It will occur via metamorphosis. And that metamorphosis begins with the willingness to travel alone for a while. Chapter 4. Rebuilding from rubble. Once you break free from the old routines, another question silently develops. What happens now? You've left behind the dysfunction, but now you're in strange land. The building, however faulty, once provided a feeling of place. Without it, you're standing amid the ruins of everything that ever defined you. However, this rubble is not merely rubbish. It is raw material. It's the basis for something bigger, which only you can create. Here's where the real work starts. Rebuilding includes not just habits and relationships, but also your inner world. Reconstructing your ideas about love, self-worth, abundance, and identity. This stage of the trip is typically the most lonely since you're building something you've never seen modeled before. It's a kind of spiritual renewal. You're getting rid of what no longer serves you and making room for something truer, freer. It will not be easy. In fact, it may seem like you're learning to walk again after just knowing survival. When love used to feel painful, stability might seem suspicious. Healthy attachment may feel weird. But it is not failure. It's a sign that you're mending, that you're reprogramming your soul to accept what's true. Rebuilding requires unlearning. It implies questioning strongly held ideas. However, this is just how we are, and we do not discuss it. Some of these views aren't even your own. They were handed down through generations, like invisible shackles. They manifest as quiet, avoidance, and behaviors that undermine pleasure. However, you, chosen one, have been summoned to shatter them. You will face your own triggers. You will have times when you doubt your progress. Some days, it may seem like you're moving backwards. But believe this, slow healing is still healing. Every intentional decision to forgive, speak truth, and establish boundaries. Each one represents a spiritual brick being placed. Together, they build a solid foundation built on truth and perseverance. You are becoming the blueprint that no one handed you. You are an example of how it is possible. You are the first to love with both gentleness and firmness. The first to speak fearlessly. The first to instill in your children emotional awareness. To invest in healing. To end the patterns that have broken those who came before you. When you accomplish this, you're not just altering your life. You're altering the lives of those who come after you. Your children, your community. Even the ancestors' tales were never recounted. Everyone benefits from your decision to rebuild. You are not just emerging from debris. You are creating a legacy out of it, a heritage of power rather than sorrow, of truth rather than quiet, and of completeness over survival. And one day, others who follow in your footsteps will walk more freely because of the route you dared to create. Chapter 5. Becoming the breaker. There's a turning point on the trip when everything changes, not because life suddenly becomes easier, but because you do. You decide to stop running. Stop pretending. You stop making excuses for the things that have hurt you. Instead, you turn back and confront the same things that have tormented your family for centuries. This is when you take up the role of breaker. The breaker is not only someone who observes the disorder. The breaker is the one who declares, "It ends with me." You become the one who dares to question things that have languished in quiet for too long. Addiction, poverty, emotional repression, abuse, abandonment, and humiliation. These patterns do not break on their own. They are deconstructed by someone who is strong enough to face them, identify them, and say no more. But make no mistake, this is spiritual warfare. You're not just battling habits. You're dealing with spirits, mentalities, and beliefs that have been inextricably linked to your family. You are facing the falsehoods that have masqueraded as tradition. And it's not simple, because part of what you're breaking is what people consider normal. Some of what you're rejecting is what your ancestors needed to live. But surviving isn't your calling. Freedom is becoming the breaker, which requires bravery, not the noisy type, but the quiet, everyday kind. The fortitude to seek treatment when no one else would. The bravery to declare "I love you" when your family never mentioned it. The willingness to parent with patience when you were reared for punishment. The bravery to remain, to feel, to heal, to lead. It's messy. It is painful. There are moments. You'll ponder if it's worth it. Is it really fair to mend something you didn't break? But that is why you were picked. You've been given the power to not just weather the storm, but to break the cycle that caused it. You've been entrusted with a task greater than yourself because you're designed for it. Here's the shift. You're not just breaking cycles. You're constructing replacements. You start to reinvent what love looks like in your family, what trust looks like without fear, what success looks like when it is driven by purpose rather than performance. You educate your kids' emotional intelligence, not just discipline. You prefer speech to quiet, limits on resentment. Pride must give way to vulnerability. You are not looking for perfection. You are looking for intention. Every decision you make, every truth you express, and every boundary you create lays the groundwork for something new. And you may feel as if you are wandering alone at times, but believe that you are paving a way. When none existed, you were the link between what was and what will be. Breakers carry weight, but they also contain knowledge, the insight to recognize that change does not occur overnight. Legacy, however, begins in a single instant. That moment is now. You're not just breaking the cycle. You are reshaping it. You're not just moving away from suffering. You are taking the first step toward your destiny. This is what the selected ones do. They do not escape the flames. They stroll through it, emerging as light. And because of you, future generations will experience peace, joy, love, and plenty in ways your forefathers could only dream of. You're not just altering your life. You are altering the narrative of your whole lineage. Chapter 6, The Legacy of Light. There comes a point in your path when your attention turns from what you've conquered to what you're currently creating. The struggle is no longer only about breaking what has already been shattered, but about creating what has never been before. This is the holy shift from suffering to purpose, survival to legacy. And that legacy is one of light. You'll rise is more than merely shattering bonds. It is about establishing a fresh basis. You're creating a new normal based on healing love, truth, and vision, rather than trauma, fear, or poverty. You are building a reality for which your forefathers prayed, even if they had the vocabulary to articulate it. This legacy may not necessarily manifest in large gestures or dramatic changes. Often, it is quiet, unobtrusive, but strong. It may be seen in the way your children carry themselves with confidence, security, and self-worth, and how your home now handles dispute with compassion rather than turmoil, and how love is freely shared, and joy is no longer a foreigner but a resident. You will notice it when family members begin to open up, when talks deepen, when silence no longer keeps secrets. You'll observe a ripple effect in how your younger siblings, nieces, nephews, and even friends learn to dream larger, think bigger, and love more freely. Because your presence enabled them to think that more was possible. That's the issue about light. It spreads, and the legacy you leave will be felt beyond this generation. Your bravery will leave an indelible mark on history. Future generations will be able to express their anguish and find a way to heal. Because of your discipline, kids will inherit prosperity not just materially, but also emotionally, spiritually, and psychologically. You are altering the environment of your whole bloodline by replacing fear with trust, scarcity with strategy, silence with truth, and guilt with compassion. What was previously shrouded in secrecy and quiet will now shine with honesty and openness. Conversations that were previously avoided are now opportunities to develop. The wounds that were previously handed down are now being healed. Your descendants will recall a watershed moment as a result of your actions. Not when things became simpler, but when someone stepped up and decided to lead differently. That is your legacy, not just surviving what was, but surpassing it. Not just getting through, but making it better. You're not only a product of your history. You have the ability to shape your own destiny. You're leaving a legacy that declares we are no longer bound by what has damaged us. We are now guided by what heals us. You've become a beacon for others still lost in the storm. Your life, your decisions, and your progress are now beacons. even if some never express gratitude, even if the entire effect is not realized within your lifetime. Believe this. Your legacy lives on in every heart you touch, each cycle you break, every truth you embody. It is there. You were not just picked to climb. You were picked to rebuild. Reimagine what's possible for your family, to leave a lasting legacy, one of the lights of hope, of transformation. This is how history is rewritten, not with the loudest voice, but with the most dependable light. And the light is you. Chapter 7. Walking like the chosen one. You did not volunteer for this position. You did not wake up one day and seek to bear the weight of your lineage's recovery, but rather your soul. Long before your conscious mind could comprehend, it said yes to the mission. That holy covenant reverberate in every step you take. Now you walk differently. You hold a portion that was not given to you. It was forged, fought for, carved out, through tears, reflection, and years of getting out of what threatened to engulf you. That peace is more than simply the lack of noise. It represents the existence of clarity. You've become a calming presence in the midst of turmoil, a solid foundation in an unstable environment. You talk with knowledge today, not because you studied all the appropriate books, but because you survived the fire. You had sadness in one palm and hope in the other. You struggled with identity, religion, and purpose, yet you did not give up. That knowledge is not borrowed. It is earned. It is evident in every word you say, choice you make, every boundary you establish. You love differently because your love has been sculpted by loss, rejection, and misunderstanding. But instead of shutting your heart, you choose to leave it open. You love with empathy. Now, with kindness and honesty. Your love is not naive. It is robust. Being picked does not imply you are faultless. Far from it. It indicates you're willing to climb, even when it's difficult, willing to feel, even if it hurts, willing to move ahead, even if the way is uncertain. I'm willing to lead, even when nobody says thank you, willing to forgive, even if it is unjust, willing to shine in circumstances where previous generations were taught to hide. So here's the deal. You may not comprehend the whole significance of your stroll, but others do. Some will find inspiration in stillness. Some will change just by observing you. Not because you instructed them to, not because you demanded it, but because your life became proof. Evidence that healing is possible, cycles can be broken, and destiny can be rewritten. You've become actual, breathing evidence that a single soul united with truth may alter the course of a whole lineage. This is not just your own adventure. This is a holy assignment. You were not selected because you were the strongest. You were picked based on your availability, because your heart whispered, I can't watch this continue, because heaven was looking for someone to stand in the gap and spotted you. You represent the transition, the bridge, and the stoppage of all that attempted to continue via your bloodline. You are the soothing balm applied to centuries of wounds. You are the whisper of hope that echoes across time. You are the promise that the past will no longer dictate the future. So walk with purpose. Walk with humility and bravery. Stand tall, not for ego, but for purpose. Know who you are. Know what you're carrying. And never allow the weight of the past overshadow the force of your present. Because although your family's past has been difficult, your future is full with hope. Your legacy is more than simply survival. It's a metamorphosis. It's an elevation. It's about redemption. And you're not only the outcome of your forefathers' prayers, you're the answer for them. So walk the selected one, even if it is lonely, even when misinterpreted, even if it feels heavy, because you were assigned to rewrite it all. And now it has already started. Dear viewers, your support through Super Chat and membership is the only source of income that keeps this channel running. If you want me to continue uploading valuable content without delays and to stay motivated in providing you with the best wisdom, I need your help. Every contribution, big or small, makes a huge difference. Feel free to donate and support Pure Wisdom so we can keep growing together. Your generosity keeps this journey alive. Thank you for being part of this amazing community. If you're enjoying the content on Pure Wisdom and find value in the messages we share, I encourage you to subscribe. Based on the latest analytics, 93.9% of viewers are watching without subscribing. By subscribing, you not only stay updated with new content, but also support the channel's growth, allowing us to continue spreading wisdom for the chosen ones. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an important message. Let's build this community together.